The month of June has many feeling pride, but is Michigan doing enough to protect the rights of the LGBTQ plus community? And a new look at Michigan's good economic picture suggests the picture is a little distorted. Today is Sunday, June 23rd, 2019, and this is Flashpoint. Hi, welcome to Flashpoint. We are finally into summer in Michigan, and tomorrow we plan to kick it off in our traditionally sparkling style. Ford fireworks set for tomorrow night along the Detroit River. Hopefully the weather will cooperate. And a little later on, we'll get you set for the big night, whether you'll be watching in person or from right where you are now. But coming up first, we're going to take a closer look at Michigan's report card as we mark Pride Month. There is no doubt that American attitudes about the gay and lesbian community have changed in very quick order. Yes, many do want to see broader and more far-reaching improvement, but how many single issues flip the full 180 degrees as quickly as the issue of, say, gay marriage? From a non-starter to the law of the land in a relative blink of an eye. And yet, in Michigan, there is no law on the books to keep you from firing someone because you don't care for their sexual or gender identity. Look at the presidential race. Is America ready for a gay president, complete with a first husband? Or is that enough to disqualify Pete Buttigieg from serious consideration? I think we put together a really fascinating roundtable of voices today from those who walk that walk every day. We've got that coming up. Also, an interesting take on the Michigan economy from a guy who spends his life crunching numbers. He thinks we need to understand some troubling trends and signs in Michigan, all coming up today on Flashpoint. A recent survey shows that 4 out of 5 Michigan voters think it should be illegal for an employer to fire a worker because of their sexual orientation or gender identity. So why is it that in Michigan it is perfectly legal for an employer to do exactly that? Good place to start our conversation with this morning's terrific roundtable, I think. Very happy to have with me former state senator, now the head of Thomas Group Consulting, Buzz Thomas, back with us again. The former CEO of Henry Ford Health System, Nancy Schlichting, is here. So is Janice Poindexter with Equality Michigan. And our pollster, you know his work very well if you spend any time with us here on Flashpoint for Local 4 from the Glenn Gariff Group, Richard Juba. Thank you all very much for being here. As I told you guys in the green room earlier, nobody should be reduced to their sexual or gender identity. So I didn't love the feeling of even putting together this group because it felt reductive in that way. And yet, you guys all have very unique experiences and viewpoints, I think, to bring to bear on this. But Richard, this poll that I just mentioned was yours. And I assume you'd rather it be 5 out of 5 Michiganders who think that that ought to be the law. But 4 out of 5 speaks to what I was saying earlier. In a sense, we've come an awfully long way on this matter.
We have. I've been polling this issue in Michigan for 36 years now, and I haven't seen any single policy issue in Michigan or the nation that has done a complete 180. You say 80% don't want people who are LGBTQ fired or denied housing. That's as high of a number as you're going to see in Michigan on a policy issue, I think. And there's only 2 other issues I've polled on that are similar in that size of number, and that is choice in auto insurance, which we just went through,
right,
and banning drilling in the Great Lakes. This is on that level of unanimity of Michigan voters.
Wow.
And yet it is holed up and stalled in the legislature.
Nancy, I'm going to assume, though, that when you were late teens, early 20s, looking at starting a career in the business world, I'm going to guess you didn't see this day coming.
No, I didn't.
As slow as it was, I'm sure, in the middle of it, that you didn't see this day coming.
Well, not only did I not think I'd ever get married, but I also wasn't sure I could ever be a CEO.
Sure.
And I also wondered what would happen if my parents knew, my friends knew, or my coworkers knew. And for a long time, they didn't.
Well, in fact, my own theory on why it changed was that people did finally realize how many people around them were.
Absolutely.
And it took a long time for that to open up, but once it did,
yeah.
Does that explain it?
I think it's a big part of the explanation, because I think when people began to come out and, you know, parents found out their children were gay, found out their friends were gay, you know, it just changed the world. And you couldn't hate people that you loved.
Yeah. And yet, Buzz, we do see there are still places where it's easy to find a kind of discrimination that still exists.
Yeah.
And you were telling me earlier you see it all the time.
Well, you do see it all the time. I mean, one, you see a legislature that refuses to pass basic civil rights protection, just basic. It's not a big question. And then look at the violence that we've seen in Detroit against trans women of color and other African American men. It's brutal, and the violence is increasing. And people feel in some way that they have a right to be a little more negative and a little more hostile towards people, given the environment that we live in the country now. And so we have to really stay vigilant.
Hey, Janice, I saved you for last because I'm going to assume that you might not, in the trans community, I'm not sure you can point to as much progress as we've seen in our understanding. There's still a long way to go.
But there's definitely a long way to go, and it's going to start with just simple value of our lives. But we have made a lot of headway. We partnered with a lot of community agencies to make sure that we maximize our reach for supportive services for the LGBTQ community. And I have the honor of making sure that a lot of those resources are extended. So yeah, we're making a lot of good headway, but there is still definitely, I'm still a moving target.
What are we trying to get to eventually? Do we want a world where we really, for so long, we always, of course, saw the world in very binary fashion. You were a male or you were a female, and that both meant there was a lot packed into each one of those.
That's true.
Do we really see a day where we don't think that way anymore, or do we just need the spectrum much wider in the way that we identify people? I just said earlier, LGBTQ plus now, so we keep adding to that.
Yeah, that's true. And I guess that's an open spectrum, and I think the most respectful thing, the thing that I always say and I always tell people is that we're not asking for special rights. We're not asking for trans rights or special gay male rights or lesbian gay bi rights. We are asking for the same dignities and respect that everyone is entitled to just by being born on this earth. So it gets really murky when you feel that you have to prove your own being just to be accepted.
Richard, I also know from conversations with some people that there is a little bit of resentment that everybody's being grouped into the, because, you know, in fact, I was talking once to a gay person who's like, you know, we're just starting to get somewhere, and now somebody wants to throw in another group that needs to be a part of this protection. And I guess you end up moving at the speed of the slowest ship sometimes, but how do you, where do we eventually want to be?
Well, you know, you say throwing people in. I would reverse that equation. It was trans women of color who led the march.
That's right.
They started this march. And I think most of us in the community will agree, we're going to be damned if we leave them behind now. They're with us. We're all together on this.
Yeah. That's a great way of looking at it. Then Nancy, where do you think eventually we need to sort of settle in a place that's fair and equitable to everybody? Because I told you earlier, I wanted to ask you about, there is this strange disconnect in American life where some people believe that your rights to live as you want to collides with somebody else's understanding of their religious freedom. Certain people of faith who believe that homosexuality is sinful.
Well, my belief is that everyone has value. Every single person. I mean, as a CEO, my mantra was that my fundamental job was to create an environment where every person could reach their full potential. And when you believe that, you don't think about all this adversarial kind of stuff. It's really about valuing each person with dignity and respect. And, you know, I respect people's religious beliefs, but I don't think that should discount who I am.
That's right.
And I think it's really important that we have more openness to all of the human beings that are in our society.
Have you had occasion to have conversations with people who, you know, are of
course.
And how does that generally go when somebody's talking to you who are...
In some cases, it didn't go well. I mean, I was the CEO of a hospital in Columbus that was a Methodist hospital. And I had to sit in the boardroom one day when the board decided that we were not going to protect people based on sexual orientation. And I have never been more discounted, I think, in my life in terms of the arguments that I was making.
Did everybody in the room understand where you were coming from?
They ultimately did. I was outed in that organization, and letters were sent to my board and my boss in the system. And I ultimately left that organization because they had diminished my position there.
Yeah.
And it was because of one board member that just felt a gay woman should not be the CEO of the organization.
And Buzz, you are of an age that at a certain time in your life, people understanding that you were gay could have set fire to a political resume.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. So when I first ran for office, I wasn't out, and then I told my parents midway through my tenure and began telling my friends, and then it just became awkward. Whereas, why do I have to have a press conference to announce this? I'm just going to live my life, and it was challenging and complicated within the African American community. I'm 50. So I'm kind of an in-between generation. So I'm still dealing with peer friends that are older than me that I'm still, kind of an oddity to.
Yes.
And so you just want to work through that and help them work through it and remind them that I'm the same little boy that you loved as a kid.
But in particular, I want to let both of you speak to this. In the African American community, it is, in fact, there was last week on Meet the Press, Chuck Todd played a clip for Pete Buttigieg from a black pastor saying he needs, if you want to be a Democratic president in America, you're going to need black voters, and a gay man running is going to have a harder time still attracting the African American vote. Why is that still such a problem in the African American community?
I believe that a lot of that judgment kind of starts at home. In rendering services to the community, I find that a large number of violence comes right from family, comes from mom, comes from brother, comes from uncles. And so our community members have to learn how to navigate that. And those numbers increase for trans women of color. They're often ostracized from the family and disconnected. And so when you think of those dynamics, it really is painful to be expected to live a good quality life with all the institutionalized oppression, literally walking around with feet on your neck. And it seems that it's just a constant battle just to show up in life. And not just because you've done something bad or you've made a mistake. This is just because you choose to show up authentically yourself.
Yeah. Buzz, what
Well, you can use Detroit as an example where the community has really been underground for so long that folks are just now having an awakening and being seen. And so in many regards within the African American community, it's still some years behind in terms of just general recognition. And that recognition obviously has helped as folks start to see people as human and not different.
That's right.
Richard, was that pastor right then when it comes to Pete Buttigieg and being able to get the kind of people? We know we saw what happened to the Detroit vote and for Hillary Clinton's chances the last time around when African Americans didn't turn out to vote.
Correct. I'm going to be 56, and I'm as shocked as anybody to see what Pete Buttigieg is doing in the presidential race. I never thought I'd see it in my lifetime. But yes, I do think he could be elected in a state like Michigan, and the evidence of that is Attorney General Dana Nessel, who, got elected this past in 2018. I think the LGBTQ community needs to stop playing defense, and Dana Nessel is a perfect example of that. I'm a big fan of Shirley Chisholm, and she always used to say, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair.
That's right.
And I think it's time for the LGBTQ community to bring a folding chair, demand its place on the table. If the legislature isn't going to act, take it out of their hands. Go to the voters and trust the voters. 80% say, we're with you.
And thank God for Governor Whitmer. She's a beautiful, shining example of leadership that gets and understands the beauty of all people, even people that are different, people that are of a different background, race, class. She is very intentional about her approach for all people, and I appreciate that.
And Nancy, I'm curious, back to Pete Buttigieg for a minute, what it's like for you to watch a guy openly gay running for national office talking about how proud he is of his husband.
You know, I think it's absolutely wonderful. I think, you know, the authenticity of Pete Buttigieg is fantastic. And I think, to your point, it really is about being yourself, being comfortable with yourself. And I have found when I moved to Detroit, this was the best place I've ever lived or worked. And it was a welcoming community in all aspects. Yeah. Every dimension of this community has treated me so well. And I think it's because I treat them well. Yeah. And I also think it's because I'm myself. And I think that's what we need to do.
That's what Janice was talking about. Thanks for the conversation, you all. I really appreciate it, and a great way for us to think about what's going on right now in Pride Month. But when we come back, how great a state is Michigan right now, especially when it comes to our economic picture. This is Flashpoint on Local 4.